got to tell you that I am more excited today than I have ever been. Today I am extremely grateful. And I tell you all the time, if you ever want to be great, you got to learn to be what? Is there anybody in here today who's grateful? Is there anybody here today who wants to be a millionaire? I just want to thank God for the opportunity to come before you guys today. And I want to thank my wife. She couldn't be here today. She's hopefully watching online. And I'm grateful to have a wife like that because I have a wife who could have had any man, and she chose me. And I'm a guy who always dreamed to have a wife like the one that I have. And talk about dreams coming true, huh? God is so good. To all my children, I love you dearly. Adriana, Alexandra, Carrington. I'm so grateful to have children like you. My mama's here today. Mama, where are you? My sister, my nephew, my sister Denier Huggins. You got to call people by their name sometimes. My nephew Sean Huggins is here. My brother Ed Felder. My team TNT. And most importantly is my Five Links family. Now, y'all know we don't have a lot of time, so let me get into it. I got a little emotional this morning. I might get emotional again. But today we're talking about escape velocity. Escape velocity. What did I say? Escape velocity. Believe it or not, there is a mathematical formula to break gravity. There's a mathematical formula to break gravity, and literally at NASA, they can calculate how to send anything to outer space. They can take the weight, the shape, and the dimensions of the Empire State Building and calculate what it would take to get it in outer space. You can break gravity. Anybody in this room today, if you really choose to, you can break gravity. When planes take off, they use 50% of their fuel just getting airborne. Once they're airborne, they move. They're not using that much fuel anymore. And there is a concept which is stronger than gravity, and it's called lift. It's called lift. And that simply means that because of the shape of the wing, there's air pushing out from under it that causes the plane to keep rising up. Because of the shape of the, like you ever got in a car and you put your hand outside the window and you feel your hand going up? That's called lift. And that's what keeps planes up once they're traveling. And today, if everything goes well, when we're done, you'll know how to get some lift. You'll know how to get some lift. Now, soldiers who win before the battle starts, they believe victory is inevitable. Victory is inevitable, not just possible, it's got to be inevitable. You've got to believe before the battle starts that you've won. You've got to believe. You got to shout now. You got to shout now before the battle starts. When I came into this business, on the day that I looked at this business 38 months ago, I signed an application, and I knew the moment I signed an application, it was not possible that I would hit platinum. It was inevitable. It was inevitable. As surely as you guys believe that if you hit a light switch, the light's gonna come on. Y'all understand what I'm talking about? Marty, you know what I'm talking about. As surely as you believe, Marty, that you're going to hit a light switch, the light's going to come on, that's how much I believed the minute I took an application from you, I would be platinum. It's got to be that inevitable for all of you. If you want to get up on this stage, you got to see yourself here right now. You got to see yourself with the clicker, with the mic. Be prepared to tell your story. We all have a story to tell. It just can't be possible. It's got to be inevitable, right? And you got to be excited. You got to be excited as you go through this journey. You got to be excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. And I read a story about two brothers. And these two brothers, in 1878, they were little boys. And their daddy came home and brought them an airplane. Well, actually, it wasn't an airplane. It was a piece of cork, a piece of bamboo, and a rubber band. And the father threw it at them, and they were expecting it to hit the ground. But it didn't hit the ground. It flew. It went up. It hit the ceiling. And if it wasn't for the ceiling, it would have kept going up. And eventually it hit the floor. And in 1 second, these two little boys believed that they could fly. Stan, the earth had been here 6,000 years. Nobody had flown before. Nobody believed it was possible. They thought they were crazy. Nobody ever thought that these two little boys would fly, but they were committed to flying, even if nobody else had ever flown before. They weren't limited to what other people thought about them. So here they are, 1878, and they go to high school and they drop out. Nicole, they dropped out. They never graduated from high school. They didn't have a master's. They didn't have a PhD. And they started working on the newspaper. They had a newspaper shop. And at the newspaper shop, this is what they did. This was their full-time job. It was their 9 to 5. And in addition to the newspaper shop, they had two jobs. They also had a bicycle shop. Ian, they had a bicycle shop. They work in two jobs. You with me? They are trying to live their dream. They believe that if they work long enough and hard enough, they can fly. They are trying to fund their dream. So 20 years pass, and they experiment, and finally they come up with a kite. Could you imagine 20 years? They come up with a kite, and they believe that one day this kite will fly. They came from Dayton, Ohio. And just like Ohio, anybody here from Ohio? Since 1900, Ohio's been waiting for a champion. Your day is coming. Your day is coming. Your day is coming. So these two brothers came from Dayton, Ohio, and they called the Weather Bureau. And they said to the Weather Bureau that they wanted to find the windiest place in the United States of America. And they took their kite to a place called Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Now, I want you to understand 20 years had passed with them playing with this kite, working on it day and night, night and day. And they take this kite out and they take it down a ramp. They take it down a ramp and they try to take off with it. The year is 1900. I remember when I got into this business at my first nationals, Steve Carter got up here and he talked about you got to have your wings and jump off and build it on the way down. These two brothers literally did what Steve Carter said. They took this kite and they went down a ramp. They went down a ramp and they jumped off. They risked everything to fly. And the thing flew for about a half a second. They worked on it for 3 more years, day and night, night and day. And eventually they put a motor on it. They put a motor on it. And they were preparing to actually navigate with this thing that was called a flyer. It wasn't an airplane yet. And 8 days before they decided to do it, 8 days before they decided to fly, 8 days before, there was a man named Samuel Langley. Samuel Langley. Samuel Langley, too, wanted to fly. And he called the newspapers, and because the United States government had given him $50,000 to do an experiment to see if he could fly. The New York Times came out and watched him, and this thing took off, and it crashed into the ocean. And the New York Times wrote a story. It says it would be 1,000,000 years before man will ever fly. 1,000,000 years. And here they are 8 days later. I don't know about you. I don't know about you. Maybe you would have quit. It was on a newspaper. It don't work. Man will never fly. So they still decided to do it. The date is December 14th. December 14th of 1903, these two brothers, they flip a coin. They flipped a coin and they said that whoever wins can fly. They were anticipating one or two things. Are you ready? They were anticipating they were either going to fly or die. They were going to fly or die. So they flipped a coin and the older brother went and he took off and it crashed. He hurt himself. It took 3 more days for them to put the thing back together. And now it was the younger brother's turn. And again, he went running down the ramp and he took off. This time he actually went airborne. He went airborne. He went airborne for 12 seconds. 12 seconds he flew. He flew a total of 120 feet, and it crashed. They tried it again and again, and before the day was over, they flew 300 feet. Are you with me? And after it flew 300 feet, they decided to celebrate. They're standing on the beach, Curtis. They kicked their shoes off. They're in the sand. And they're trying to decide where we're going to live now. Our dreams have finally come true. They're smoking a stogie. Up until this time, Curtis, the brothers never got married. They said that they didn't have the energy to be married to a woman and be married to flying. Something had to give. And maybe now they decided that maybe I could get married now. Maybe I can. The thing took off. And I can imagine they're saying now they can pay off all their loans. Because they went into debt. They shut down the bike shop. They shut down the newspaper job. They had cashed in everything to fly. And while they were talking about it and celebrating and high-fiving, a wind came. A strong gust of wind came, and I see them now. I see the wind. I see it. Shh, shh. I see the wind. And the wind took their kite. It flipped over once, twice. Matter of fact, the wind blew their plane further than they flew it. And they went running after it. They watched their dreams come to an end in one day. 20 years to get this thing to fly for 12 seconds, and they watched it come to an end. What do you do now? What do you do now? You got into the business, you have your first PBR. Your cousin joins under duress. You hit trainer. And this joker quits on you before the ink dries. What do you do now? Go back to work? Give up on your dreams? All right, so now the plane has crashed, and it actually takes them 4 years to duplicate the plane. 4 years. And now after 4 years, they think they got it, and they start to try to find a buyer. There's nobody out there who can afford to buy a plane. Are you with me, Ian? Just me and you talking. There's nobody out there who can afford to buy a plane. And they search the entire United States, and they finally find a guy who is a lieutenant who's responsible for purchasing for the United States Army. This is the one guy who believes in this new thing, this flyer, because nobody knows about them, Stan. And he's selling the dream. He's telling them America can lead the way in technology. We have this thing where we can go above the enemy, we can see them from a distance, we will have the advantage. And this guy who's responsible for procurement, his name is Thomas Selfridge. And he believes in them so much, he decides that he's going to get in this plane. He's going to get in the plane. They have been flying all day. The date is September 17th, 1908. They had 25 successful test flights. No problem. I've had 25 successful PBRs. No problem. Everything is great. The clicker works. The projector works. Everything is right. And here they are. The United States government says you've got to do one live demonstration, just one, before we'll sign the contract. Just one. So Thomas Selfridge gets on the plane. The highest ranking officer in the United States government who says, Arkell, I accept your contract. This man believed in them so much, he risked himself. He put his life on the line and said, I believe in these guys. I've watched 25 successful PBRs. I believe in this business. He gets on. They fly, Arkell, they fly. They flew around all day. They flew. And just as they were coming to a landing, Arkell, just as they were getting ready to land, guess what happened? A strong wind came. And the strong wind took their plane and put it in a tailspin. It crashed. The one man who believed in them died in the crash. The one man who believed in them. Your mama who said, I will sign into the business. Your sister, your cousin, your wife, the one person who believed in you died. It's over now. There's nobody left. Nobody's coming to applaud them anymore. Nobody is dreaming ever again that man will fly. So they go back to the lab. They've had a little bit of what, y'all? This is the kind of adversity that would cause most of you to throw in the towel. 99% of y'all would have given in and gone back to your bike shop because the one person who believed in you quit on you. So here we are now. Oh, by the way, did I tell you that Orville broke his leg? Did I tell you that he cracked 6 ribs? Did I tell you he fractured his back? He's hurting. Not just financially, he can't go back to work. He's hurting financially, he's hurting physically. God, you let me down. You gave me a vision. You gave me a vision, God, and it's gone. But he decides one more time, let me press on. People are afraid to get in the plane now, Curtis. Nobody will get on. They now hire stuntmen. Stuntmen. They hire stuntmen to fly the planes. 100 stuntmen fly these planes, and they're doing it now because they need to earn money to keep their dream alive. And they fill arenas where people watch the stuntmen fly and crash and die. People are no longer coming to applaud them. They come in to watch them die. They show up at your PBR to laugh at you now. They no longer have intentions of joining. That stupid fool still thinks it's going to work. That fool thinks that one day there'll be SVP. Your mama tells you that you will never be SVP. Never. Your in-laws call you and say, that thing don't work. I tried Amway in '64. I'm not talking about you, Pop. That's a hypothetical. What do you do now? They're coming to take popcorn and chips and to entertain themselves at your demise. Y'all with me? Am I talking to myself? So here it is. Matter of fact, out of the 100 people who were exhibitionist flyers, all of them died except for 2. All of them died except for 2. Out of your team as a national director, when you had 98 reps, they're all gone except for 2. You are no longer going forward in the business. You're not going forward. You're going backward. You're going backward so fast, I'm telling you, think you're going back in time. ND, ED, ET, trainer. You're now just an IMR. You are 4.5 years into your dream. And you're right back where you started, nowhere. You've gone full circle. What do you do now? Check it out, y'all. So here we are. Their situation got so bad. Are y'all with me? Situation got so bad that the United States government stopped the exhibitions. The United States government stepped in and said, listen, man, we've had enough people die. We've seen so many people quit in your business that officially we're going to intervene. We've seen so much loss, so much pain. Nobody wants it. So they decided to go international. They decided to take their dream abroad. They said, let's go to the Philippines. But they went to France. So they went to France, and now, y'all still with me? This is 1910. 1910. Started 1878. It's 1910. So now they're in France. And they do trial and error. Now this thing is starting to work. 1 flight successful. 2 flights successful. Now they can fly 50 miles. It took them 2 years to get their plane to 50 miles. 50 miles, that's what, Bowie to DC? 50 miles. Matter of fact, there are rich people coming out to watch now. There are kings. Kings in Europe are saying, hey, we heard about their people flying. There are people now who are willing to invest and get on this plane. These people were willing to pay money to be a part of their dream now, after people have died. Some of y'all will wait until the CBS News and NBC News finally reports that this business works. That's what y'all waiting for. Y'all waiting for Dan Rather to say, we interrupt tonight's daily programming to tell you that your job no longer works. And then y'all will believe. So it's 1910, and they've decided it is not a what? Right? It's a marathon. They decided it's a marathon. They got to finish this thing. They're going to complete it. And they've run. It's not a sprint. It's not a sprint. Some of us sprint in this business. Some of us can. Some of us are fortunate. Some of us are willing to work around the clock. The senators here, Patricia Van Pelt. And I wanted to say for the record, some of y'all foolishly believe because she's a senator that somehow made her journey easier. It didn't. It made it harder. Had to put her reputation on the line. She don't know y'all. She had it good before she started to hang out with us. Now she got the work. Once she put her name on the line, she had to prove to all the unbelievers it works. So she had to work 10 times as hard. I respect her. I believe records are made to be broken. I believe maybe, just maybe one of y'all will break her record. Somebody's gonna come in here one day and do this thing in 10 days, Marty. So anyway, I just wanted to congratulate the sister wherever she is. All right, so here's the deal. We're back to the story. I'm actually on a time limit. So here it is. I decide I'm gonna be like Orville and Wilbur. I want to go international. I want to go where people believe in the dream. They want to be part of it. And what we do here now is I get a plane ticket. Y'all with me? One of my teammates, his name is Cesar Angoko Malate. Cesar Angoko, his family is also the Malate. And I talked to his sister, and she tells me she's going to the Philippines. And I'm joking with her. I said, you go, I'm going too. Watch what you say. She sends me her ticket, and it's like, where's yours? I get my ticket. I have made my plan. Everything is all worked out. Y'all with me? I got my plan. And on New Year's Day, we decided that we're gonna go to see a movie first. I didn't want to go. I wanted to stay home, just be home with my family. And I decided that we're gonna go, and we went to go see a movie called Selma. And the movie was about people trying to get freedom. The movie was about people who were willing to give their lives to be free. That's what it was about. So we go see the movie at 6 o'clock on New Year's Day, and on the way home it is now 9 o'clock. And at 9 o'clock we're driving home, and my wife is on my right. My daughters are in the back seat. On my left here behind me is my daughter Alexandra, and on my right side is my daughter Adriana. And as I'm driving, I see a car coming, and the car attempts to make a U-turn. Denair, the car is making a U-turn, and I see it. It's coming direction towards us. It's making a U-turn, and it's making a U-turn at approximately 60 miles an hour. And it is now coming at us full speed. Full speed. There's nowhere to go. Do I jump off to the right in and go into the tree? Or do I go into the left onto head-on traffic? What do? Do I hit the brakes? There's no time to pray. There's no time to pray. You remember Daniel when they dropped him in the lion's den? There's no time to pray. All of your nine verses of prayer that y'all want to do, and the multi-syllabic words you want to roll out, it ain't no time for that. It ain't even time for God save me. It ain't time for Jesus, it's just G. That's how fast it's coming. Are y'all with me? And it connects. The car hits. And when the car hits, and I'm driving, and I see it coming. I see it is coming. And I brace for it. All of a sudden, it goes dark. The airbags drop down from around in the car, and I can't see my wife. There's smoke coming through the grill. And I hear her voice. She's outside of the car. We just collided. 3 seconds have passed, and I hear her voice outside of the car. 3 seconds later. And then I look around for my oldest daughter, and I'm calling her name. I see her. I hear a voice, and then I look around for my baby girl, and I call her name. I call her name. I say, Tori. Tori. She's the only one I don't hear. She's the only one I don't see. I don't hear her. I don't see her. I see smoke coming through the grill. My wife is out of the car. I don't know how she got out. So I sit down in the car, and I put my back on the seat, and I break away the airbag, and I take 2 feet, and I kick the window out. I kick it out. I jump out of the car, and I'm looking for my baby girl. I open the door to the car, and I grab my oldest daughter, and I run away from the car. I grab her, and I take her out of the car, and I put her down because I see smoke coming out, and I figure in the movies, you see smoke, in a few minutes the car is going to go up. But now I got to run back and get my baby girl. I don't hear her. I don't see her. I finally see a ball of red. That's all I see. I see no eyes. I see no nose, no mouth. I just see red everywhere. And I grab my baby girl. And I'm calling her, Tori, Tori. I take her out of the car and I put her down. And the ambulance comes eventually. And we go to 3 different hospitals, Stan. They send me and the baby girl to Children's. Wife and daughter goes to Prince George's Hospital. They separate us. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's broken, what's broken. My baby girl is breathing and I'm relieved. So now I'm at the point where I'm grateful to be alive. And I always think that God has a plan for each of us. He has a vision for each one of us. Don't wish to be me. God gives us all challenges that are specially designed for us. No matter how big you are or how small you are or whatever you are, God's got a challenge specially designed for you. It's perfectly made, not too big, not too small. It's just right. So now I got this ticket to go to the Philippines. I got it. I've spent, Christmas just came. Y'all know how that is. Family members are over. Every penny is spent. I've committed to go to the Philippines. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? You don't go. You don't go. No, you can't go. What are they going to think about you? My family is important. Mine too. But if you want to be great at anything, you got to understand that God is going to put you in a posture that is called a precipice of sacrifice. Precipice. Don't ever think that you're ever going to do anything great without a precipice of sacrifice. God is going to say, just like he said to Abraham, go. Abraham went to his family and said, God told me to go. They said, who's God and where are you going? He said, I don't know. So I asked my in-laws to come. My mother-in-law is a nurse. They stayed with my family, and I went. Trust me, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go, Curtis. But if you ever think that your team is going to sacrifice more than you, you're kidding yourself. They got to see and know that you are willing to give everything. Everything. No, not just your right kidney, your left too. God wants to know, are you willing to give it all for this dream? When this plane goes down, what are you willing to do to rebuild it? I said I was willing to give everything to get everything. So I go to the Philippines, and I go there, and I'm with Teresita Malate, I'm with Danny Malate, and so many other people who received me. And I gotta tell you, if you've never been to the Philippines, you gotta go. Everybody in this company is looking for a Filipino person. All of y'all are. We go and we sit outside the hospital because they work there at the hospital. And you chase down the one Filipino person that you see coming out. I'm different than y'all. I'm not gonna stand outside a hospital looking for one Filipino person. I'm gonna jump on a plane and go to a Filipino hospital. You gotta go from believing that it's possible to believing it's inevitable. All of you believe that it's possible to be SVP. All of you believe that it's possible to be platinum. But you gotta go beyond it's possible to what? It's inevitable. So we went there, and I loved it. I loved it. Matter of fact, I love being in the Philippines so much. It is like Hawaii. It was 83 degrees when I land. Mahal ko ang Filipinas. Mahal ko ang Filipinos. Mahal ko ang kayo lahat. I said I love the Philippines. I said I love Filipinos. I said I love all of you. I want you to understand that anything that you do in life, challenges are going to make it hard for some of y'all. They will come. Your dreams will take years before they are accomplished. But you got to believe that no matter what, that they're worth the sacrifice. What if I had gone this far then quit? What if I had gone this far then given up? I've got to succeed now. I've got to hold on now. I've got to believe that it is no longer possible. It is now what? When people challenge your dreams and tell you to give up, you've got to believe it's no longer possible. You've got to believe it's inevitable. It is inevitable that I will be diamond. It is inevitable. I only now at this point need 23,000 more reps. That's it. By the time next January comes and we have our January Nationals, I will be diamond. To my team, that means plenty of you will have to be platinum. Rhonda Jackson, Platinum Senior Vice President Rhonda Jackson, Platinum Senior Vice President Danae Huggins, Platinum Senior Vice President Vince Murphy, Darren Jenkins, Cynthia Brain, Muhammad Hamid. 7 of you have to break platinum in 12 months. 89 SVPs in 12 months. The Filipino team has to grow by 11,000 people in 12 months. Nothing is no longer impossible.